Hey guys, this is Christian Senior back from C&H Small Engine again for another informative service and review video. This one would be dealing this one would be dealing with a video one of my subscribers asked me to make next time I had a lawnmower in the actual shop over here, to be exact. What we have in front of me here is a 2007 Lawnboy self-propelled lawnmower. This has the older Tecumseh style engine, or the overhead, or actually the flathead valve engine to be more precise, because the overhead valve Tecumseh made was not produced on these types of machines right here for that. So this is a typical flathead Tecumseh engine made in 2007. And Tecumseh went out of business, as most people know, back in 2009. So after 2009, they simply went over to either the Briggs & Stratton or the Chinese sourced engines they currently have on some of the models out there currently right now on the market. One of the biggest things I do not like about these machines is the fact that they have extremely wide wheels on here. It's almost like they had some kid design them. I don't know why, but they went with those bulbous wheels on the front end, and the actual back wheels are not the same. It's actually the rear self-propelled ones are actually thinner in the back, and they have a wider, fatter front tire right here. These tires or wheels, whatever you want to call them, they are solid plastic. They are not rubber or anything else like that. The back ones, they are a little bit rubbery on there. However, they don't provide a lot of traction on here. I don't particularly like the design, but you can't really do anything about it. See how things are. You can barely put your fingernail in them right here. But I really do not like this design, because unfortunately, overall, from what I've heard from people who actually had these machines for 5 or 10 years out there, they don't like the design overall because of these wheels right here. They don't provide a lot of traction, stuff like that, for your yard, and that's one of the drawbacks I heard from feedback from some of my clients out there. One of the other drawbacks is they actually have a unique blade shutoff, or I should say kill switch design on these machines that most machines do not have. They have a bar in the back here that you have to have in place all the time in order for the kill switch to not work properly. This bar has to be in this position all the time, because you have a little, let me get this thing out of the way here, you have a little magnetic lock mechanism right down here, where this bar has to complete the circuit right here in order for the engine to kick over right here, in order for it to function properly. And it's a unique design specifically for lawn boys right there, and a lot of people did not like that design, because sometimes if you get water or something down inside, that thing might work intermittently, and you might have to replace that switch right there for that. So that's another drawback to that one machine right here. Overall, they do run okay. The engine on here perfectly fine, as long as you maintain them out here. This guy, he's a commercial landscaper. I really don't know why he bought this specific kind of machine, but he definitely likes his machine right here, and he claims he has been maintaining it over the past 10 years since he got it. And I'm going to go ahead and fire up here for you, so you guys can actually see how these Tecumsehs normally start if they're well maintained. This one does not have any kind of popping, surging, backfiring, or any kind of knocking or rattling coming from the engine whatsoever. So this machine has been well maintained, and he brought it over to us over here because he wanted to get tuned up before the season started over here, and he needed additional work besides the typical tune-up over here. He needed the fuel system cleaned out, the carburetor needed to be rebuilt as well too. Plus the oil is getting kind of dark in there as well too, so we changed that about 3 times, because anytime you have oil that starts getting really black in there, there's a tendency to have it start sticking on the inside of the crank. So we always recommend changing out the oil about 2 to 3 times if the oil is extremely dark or almost black, because what we find over here is if you change it one time and you go ahead and refill it again, 9 times out of 10 the oil starts getting brown in a matter of 5 or 10 minutes of you running again. So we change that again, and until the engine oil comes back almost like an amber honey color. And And we always use Mobile 1 full synthetic over here because that's what I personally use in my Honda machines, and I also use that in my Cub Cadet tractor. And it's basically designed to go for the long haul, especially if you're a commercial guy and you're going to be using your machine at least once a day out there for more than 2 hours, because synthetic oil will definitely last longer than your typical dyno oil out there for that, even though most oils out there currently in the market are some kind of synthetic, semi-synthetic blend out there. I still recommend getting full synthetic Mobile 1 myself because I've been using it for the past probably 15, 20 years, and virtually everything I actually own, my truck and my former car, and also all my lawn and garden equipment as well too. On these Lawn Boy lawnmowers, they have a sense of speed, we want to call it, in the back here for your self-propelled right here. So I just want to give you a shot of that as well too, guys. Here you go. The sense of speed self-propelled system right here automatically senses and adjusts to your speed. This is like a precursor or forerunner of the newer Toro design on here. This one, I personally, I really don't like it myself because you have a big spring mechanism right down inside right here, and unfortunately these things can actually break. I actually seen these things break down inside of this actual mechanism bar, this plastic piece right here. I had one guy over here this past about you think about a year and a half ago, I think back in middle of 2016, he actually dropped it out of the back of his truck, and unfortunately he cracked the actual housing right there, and you have to replace the whole housing assembly on here for these things. And it's always recommended to replace both sides because both sides are part of the whole same hole. So I recommend anytime you get some kind of damage on one side, it's better to replace both sides as a unit, so one part will wear evenly with each side right there, so you don't have any kind of abnormal wear on them as well too for that. And let me see, I'm trying to think what else I didn't really like about this thing. Other thing was its handle right here, guys. This is all plastic right here. They don't have a metal fold-down handle, even though the actual bars are metal right here. This is still a plastic coupler right here, and sometimes this thing strips out on here. I don't like that design either as well too. The actual newer designs and even the older Lawn Boy design, the older two-stroke designs, is a lot better design on there for that. So I'll go ahead and give you another shot. You saw the engine over here for the specific model number and serial number. Here you go. Here is the location for the specific model number and serial number on your Lawn Boy lawnmower if you still have the original tag. So here it is right here, guys. It is right there. This one is a model number 10685 with a serial number starting in 27 for 2007. So that's the typical date code right there for your machine right there. If you're looking up, it's online. It's like the manufacturer's website for parts or accessories you need for your machine. So this guy needed as I said before, this guy needed a tune-up done on there. He also needed the fuel system cleaned out, carburetor build. Let me see what else he needed here. He needed the new drive belt. He also needed a new cable on here as well too. And I think there was one other thing he needed done on here. I think he needed a new intake gasket between the intake manifold and the carburetor. And unfortunately, I think somebody was working on his machine prior to us because the actual bowl on here was the incorrect side. Somebody put a wrong size bowl because they have two different types of bowl size. They have a 5/16 and I believe a 3/8. I think that's what it was, and I think he put a 3/8 bowl on his carburetor where it took a 5/16 because you have a different sized main jet and nut on the bottom here, and the original factory one comes with a 5/16 bolt hole for the actual main jet nut on the bottom of these carburetors, and whoever was working on this before us did not put the correct bolt on the machine. It had a real small leak around the actual bolt lip on the sealant where you put your little bolt nut gasket right there for that as well too. And that was another reason why the machine wasn't running too good over here for us as well too. And we also had to install a new recoil assembly under too. Unfortunately, these recoil assemblies are becoming harder and harder to find because of Tecumseh went out of business, as I said before, back in 2009. And typically they retail between 40 and 60 bucks if you can find them online. I have a distributor up in Wisconsin who actually still has old Tecumseh stock out there, so I can typically buy from him with no problem up there. But if you're a person who wants to fix up your own machine out there, but I'd say I'd recommend the only place looking is typically eBay, because eBay usually has a bunch of resellers online, or like dumping old stock for Tecumsehs out there. So if you're looking for genuine OEM Tecumseh parts for older machines, I definitely recommend going to eBay first and foremost to find your parts, and I recommend typing in the specific part number you need for your specific machine. So you must have the specific part number for your machine if you want to get OEM parts on it, because typically the OEM parts will be new old stock from old companies that actually had them in stock at their warehouse, but unfortunately Tecumseh went out of business, and they're basically dumping all their old stock because they no longer have a need for Tecumseh inventory, because Tecumseh went out of business, so there's no need for it. So that's why I recommend eBay, because eBay basically sells virtually everything and anything on there. I'll go ahead and fire this thing up here for you as well too. This startup video is how a typical Tecumseh should start up without any kind of knocking, surging, smoking, or banging or clang, anything else like that, because this engine is in great shape internally, and it does not smoke or have any kind of running issues currently with it right now. So we'll go ahead and prime it here. As normal, you should prime these things about 2 to 4 times. 1, 2, 3. We'll do it 3 times right now for you guys. And let me get my camera situated here while I hold it here for a couple seconds. Okay, hold on guys. And that's how it should start. So it should normally start on one pull if the engine is in good shape. It should not have any kind of surging, hesitating, or anything else like that. It should not have any kind of smoking. The side shot. No smoking, no knocking. I'll go ahead and shut it off right now. And the engine typically has the typical chuffing, like chuff like that. That's how you know the engine still has a good amount of compression in the engine right there for that, because anytime an engine does not have that chuffing sound right there, typically the either the valves are getting worn, and it basically needs a valve job, or possibly the cylinder rings are losing their compression, or I should say more precisely, the engine is not sealing properly with the rings right there, and typically the actual engine's compression might be down a bit right there, which leads to hard starting or will not start kind of a situation right there for that. So if anybody has any comments, questions, whatnot about this lawn boy I just reviewed here, feel free to leave me a message here, and I'll try to help you out with any kind of basic information on your machine. So let's go ahead and leave me a message, guys, and I'll try to get back to you within 24 to 48 hours after you leave some kind of a detailed message. I'll see you guys, and have a nice day.